the Olympia Show with your host, Christopher Allen, where we explore the art of mind and body conditioning. Welcome to the Olympia Show, the Olympia edition. So each September, the elite of the bodybuilding and fitness world descend upon Las Vegas to compete at the Olympia Fitness and Performance weekend. This year, the Olympia Show is September 12th through the 15th at the Orleans Arena, with the Olympia Expo being held at the Las Vegas Convention Center. There are about 8 categories of competition. So there's 4 in the women's division, 4 in the men's different events, and each of the participating athletes had to qualify to receive an invite to this most prestigious fitness and bodybuilding contest in the world. So in today's episode, we're just going to talk a little bit about the Olympia Expo, and the competitor categories of this annual event in Las Vegas. So let's jump in. So the best way to explain the Olympia Fitness and Performance weekend, the best analogy is that it is the Super Bowl of fitness, physique, and bodybuilding competition. It is the pinnacle of those areas, the fitness, physique, and bodybuilding world. The best of the best competing for the Olympia title. Before the actual competition, there is an Olympia Expo. So this is at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and it has all of the latest in sports nutrition, workout gear, apparel, and a lot of the bodybuilding and fitness influencers and celebrities from around the world. Literally, people fly from all over the world for this show. And there's also a showcase of many other sports, even though the 8 that we'll talk about during this show are the primary ones of focus. There are a lot of other sports that are showcased at this event on the weekend, including Taekwondo, there's a Spartan course, Muay Thai, Karate, Kung Fu, there's powerlifting, strongman events, some boxing, jiu-jitsu, wheelchair Olympia, skateboarding, pole fitness. Hey, it's in Vegas, right? And of course, there are hundreds and hundreds of vendors selling an endless array of clothes, supplements, photos, almost anything you can think of fitness related. And the expectations, just to give you an idea, are for around 50,000 people that attend the Expo and the other Olympia events. So as I mentioned, there are 8 primary competition categories. So we're going to talk through each of those, and I'm going to try and give you a little bit of the layman's understanding of what the different categories the judges look for and what's different between the categories. A lot of times people ask me, what's the difference between figure and physique, or bikini and figure? I don't really understand which one wears heels, which one doesn't. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we dive into the categories. So let's start with the female categories. And the first one is bikini. So in this category, in this group, the judges look for a foundation of muscle with full round glutes, some small amount of roundness in the delts, a very conditioned core, so you got to be showing abs. And in the bikini competition, I'll just highlight probably what I think are maybe the top 4 competitors this year, which include Angelica Teixeira, who is the reigning bikini champion, Janet Leag, Ashley Kaltwasser, and Laura Lee Chapados. The second category in women is figure. Now, the difference here is there's an overall balance of muscular development that includes some rounded delts, some sweep to the quads, a little bit more depth in the back muscle and width, with the emphasis overall, though, on balance and symmetry. So there's a small amount of muscle separation in the figure category. The judges are looking for a V-taper, tight glutes with separation between the hamstring and the glutes, and of course, a balance between the upper and lower body. So the top, what I guess are maybe top 5 competitors in the figure division are Sydney Gillen, who's the 2018 champion, Candice Lewis-Carter, Latoria Watts, Nadia Wyatt, and Jessica Padilla. So moving along to the women's physique. So this is now the third category. So first we had bikini, then we had figure, now we have physique. So now we've got more muscular density than figure, with some clear muscle separation. So small amounts of striations is acceptable in this division. The emphasis is on muscular development with full muscle bellies, and of course, again, the balance between the upper and lower bodies. The top competitors in the women's physique at the Olympia are Shanique Grant, Natalia Coelho, Daniele Castillo, and Jennifer Taylor. So the physique will be the most muscular of the women's categories. And the fourth and final female category is that of fitness. Now, fitness is interesting because the competitors showcase their physiques, which are definitely less muscular than bodybuilders, but they have to perform a very demanding, time-limited aerobic dance routine. And this is kind of like gymnastics, cheerleading, some crazy moves. And it's kind of a combination of a light physique with an aerobics dance routine competition. And the top competitors for fitness at the 2019 Olympia are Whitney Jones, who was the 2018 champion, Ryal Graber, Miriam Capes, and Missy Farrell. So again, in general, for the women's categories, overall, the general judging criteria are around some muscularity, condition, symmetry, balance, and presentation. And then obviously in the fitness category, they have the presentation is the performance of the aerobic dance routine. So let's move on to the men's divisions. And the first men's division is the men's physique. This one is relatively new. It was introduced in 2012. And the judges are looking for a good structure, a really good shoulder to waist ratio, impressive proportionate development of shoulders, arms, back, and calves. The one interesting notable item here is that the competitors wear board shorts, so quad development is not necessarily measured as they're covered. Doesn't mean these guys don't have good quads, but it just means they're not judged on quads because it's underneath the clothing. And for the men's physique, the conditioning is of paramount importance. These guys usually come in around 5%, maybe a little less. The posing routine is very different. It's very kind of fixed, followed by some three-quarter turns. But in general, these guys are judged more on condition with proportional muscularity. The top competitors of the men's physique for the 2019 Olympia, again, I just picked kind of the top four, I think. Brandon Hendrickson, who's the 2018 Olympia champion, Raymond Edmonds, Andre Ferguson, and Ryan Terry. The next division of men's competition is classic bodybuilding. Now, this one is the newest division at the Olympia, and it was just introduced in 2016. So there's only been 3 winners in the classic physique. And this is a category for more muscularity and size beyond just the physique, but not the extreme muscularity of the open category. And the idea here is to really focus on classic bodybuilding and make the body look aesthetic, muscular, and beautiful while still being able to hold the stomach, control the vacuum pose, and keeping everything very aesthetic but also very muscular. So it's the newest and fastest growing division. The top competitors of the 2019 classic bodybuilding are Breon Ansley, who is the reigning 2018 champion, Chris Bumstead, George "The Bull" Peterson, Arash Rabar, Stan DeLongo, or Stanimal, training out of Gold's in Venice, my boy, and Keon Pearson. The third category for the men's competition is simply called the 212 division, and this is referred to as such because it is the weight limit that was introduced in the year 2011. And so this is generally for shorter guys who still pack on a lot of muscle, but don't compete in the open category against guys that are 270 and just crazy big. So most of the athletes in this division are a little shorter, and they have to weigh up to 212 pounds. So the top competitors in the 2019 Olympia are Derek Lunsford, Ahmad Ashkanani, Kamal Elgarni, Hide Yamagishi, and David Henry. Again, I just kind of picked out 5. The 2018 and I think 7-time champion James Flex Lewis decided to step back from competing in the 212. I think he might do the open bodybuilding next year. So there'll be a new winner this year in 2019. The final competitive category for men is the Mr. Olympia title. So this is the granddaddy of them all, Mr. Olympia. This is where the big boys compete, and they weigh up to 270, 300. Some of these guys get up to close to 300 pounds. This is the biggest of the biggest, the best of the best, with mass, symmetry, condition, definition, all of that on display. And it's important to note that since its incarnation in 1965, there's only been 14 people who have earned the title of Mr. Olympia. This year is going to be a little bit unique because the number will likely be 15. We will see. There's only one competitor in the show that has won the Mr. Olympia title. That is Dexter Jackson. Other than that, we will see the 15th person unless Dexter wins. The top competitors of the Mr. Olympia this year: William Bonac, Brandon Curry, Rolly Winkler, Dexter Jackson, Juan Morel, Luke Sando, Hadi Chupin, who finally got his visa to enter the U.S. from Iran. And this year is a little notable due to the absence of Phil Heath, who was the 7-time Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy from, I think he trains represents Egypt, and Sean Roden, who was declared ineligible for this year's competition. So again, unless Dexter wins, there'll be a new Mr. Olympia. Kind of exciting. So the prize money for the Mr. Olympia Expo Fitness and Performance weekend is about just under $1.5 million in total prize money. And while that's touted as the most ever, Mr. Olympia gets the lion's share of that money, $400,000 awarded to first place. Now, most of the other categories in the Olympia have much smaller payouts, even for the champion, the winner. So I think in some categories, the winner only receives about $20,000, which, look, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye, but it's not a life-changing amount of money. It's not enough to pay for all of your training and food and coaching and prep and all that you have throughout the year. It's really not that much. So hopefully we'll see the prize money continue to increase and have bigger payouts, particularly for the other categories. So I thought I'd include my predictions, and I'm not an expert in each of these areas, so some of these are just who I think will win, or who I've kind of seen on Instagram or YouTube, since I'm not an expert and don't follow all of these categories. But I will make the predictions. So in bikini, I'm going to go with Ashley Kaltwasser. She has won it before. She took some years off and is on the comeback trail and doing well. Figure, I'm going with Sydney Gillen. I saw her in golds about a month ago, and she looked amazing. And that was a month or more out from the show. Women's physique, I'm going to go with Shanique Grant. I've seen some pictures of her. She looks pretty amazing. And in the fitness category, I'm not going to go with a favorite. I'm going to go with Missy Farrell. I've been following her. She's got some pretty impressive routine. Her conditioning is sick and crazy. I think she looks great. So we'll see. Moving over to the men's side, men's physique. It's a really, really tough one. Again, Brandon Hendrickson won last year, and I haven't seen these guys too much this year, but I'm going to go with Andre Ferguson for the win. So in the next category, which is the men's classic physique, I saw him in the gym just a week ago, Breon Ansley. I don't see him losing. There are some incredible competitors in this one. George the Bull Peterson looks amazing. His back is full and wide. Chris Bumstead looks good. Stanimal, I think, looks good. But I think Breon, from just a pure aesthetics, taper, looks amazing. And I think he will bring home the title again for his three-peat. In the 212 division, again, we'll have a new winner because the previous champion, Flex Lewis, moved on. And I'm going to go with Derek Lunsford. He was second last year. Assuming he comes in, he's got great shape, good muscularity. I think he will take it this year. So that leaves the Mr. Olympia contest. Now, I'll be honest, there's someone who I think will win and somebody I am rooting for. So I think Brandon Curry is going to take home the title, but I am rooting for Dexter Jackson. Dexter is approaching 50 years of age. I think he'll be 49 when he steps on stage. He looks amazing, the blade just never is out of shape, and I would love to see him have his 30th IFBB Pro victory and have that be Mr. Olympia 2019. I'd love to see it. Not sure if it's going to happen, but Dex, rooting for you, brother. So that about wraps it up for this episode of the Fitterist Show. Really, it's pretty interesting to see the best of the best in the fitness and bodybuilding industry as they go to Las Vegas. And remember, all the competitors must have either placed in the top 5 the previous year to get an invite, or won a major IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding Pro Show, or have amassed a quantity of points to qualify to compete on this most prestigious stage. So that means they would have had to compete and place high, both. It's not just good enough to, hey, I entered 10 shows. You have to place high to earn enough points to qualify for an invite to the Olympia. So the opportunity to ascend to that top position in all of bodybuilding and fitness is often the result of years and years of hard work, discipline, dedication, diet, training. And it's exciting to see these competitors realize their fitness, physique, and bodybuilding goals. So best of luck to everybody that competes, and we'll see you next time on The Fitterist Show. With that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to The Fitterist Show. You can follow us on Instagram at FitteristMindBody and on Twitter at FitteristMind. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to a friend or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future episodes of The Fitterist Show. My name is Christopher Allen, and make it a magical day.